Welcome back to the Run Dusty Run podcast, where runners from all over the world share their stories and running journeys. Along the way, we hope you'll be inspired, encouraged, and that community will be built. Today, we have a special guest with us all the way from Ontario, Canada. Welcome to the podcast, if you would, Lindsey Charbonneau. Lindsey, thanks so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
We are super excited as we have another international guest, and Lindsey has quite an incredible story. Super, super talented, a super great follow on Instagram, and so would encourage you, if you get time, to follow Run Wild, Lift Heavy. You will not regret that follow. All right, Lindsey, as always, we like to begin by starting an icebreaker round, and so these are just rapid fire questions.
Okay,
So,
hit me with them.
all right, are you ready? Okay. Funniest sign that you've ever read during a race?
Funniest sign, probably it's okay to pee a little bit on this race. And I actually clapped a bit and pointed.
Yes. Okay. If your running style resembled an animal, what would it be?
An animal, I don't know, maybe. Well, I have one. So I have a wiener dog, and I always say that I feel like I'm like the wiener dog in every race. I'm not very big, so I'm always this little person with these little legs that has to take 1,000 more strides than average height people. So I always compare myself to my cute little wiener dog and think, oh gosh, I get you, buddy.
Fantastic. Biggest waste of money in the running world. And the haters will stay away, so don't worry about this.
Biggest waste of money. Ugh. I don't know. I think gels. I really hate gels. I find that they're overpriced. People can go and find much more reasonable priced items from around your home, like honey, salts, mixing that kind of stuff. I think that you're basically paying for packaging and fancy writing.
For sure. For sure. You're going for a 10-mile run. What is the one thing, Lindsey, that you must have with you?
My Garmin.
Yeah.
It's gonna track everything about what I need, and I don't care if I forget my headphones. I don't mind getting out there. I'm a little bit of a psychopath in that sense that I've gotten used to over the years running without headphones so I can pay attention to the world around me and really take it in.
Yeah.
But if I don't know my average pace, then forget about it. I'm going home to get it.
That's right. That is right. You are running a marathon and you are only allowed to listen to one song, but you have to listen to that song the entire race. What is it?
One song the entire race. That almost feels like it would be torture. And I have to listen to it
And you,
the
and you have
whole
to listen
4
to it the
hours.
whole time. The whole time. You can turn the
My
volume down, but
gosh.
you still have to listen to it.
Probably, oh gosh, I can't remember what her name is. I'm gonna have to look this up. Running Up That Hill by Kate Bush. There it is.
Okay.
Running Up the Hill by Kate Bush. I
All
find
right.
there's some artists out there that I could definitely listen to if I have 5, 6 songs over and over again, but I think that one just because by the end of it, I wouldn't be mad at it.
Right. Funniest running experience ever. What was it?
Okay, so this is actually really, really funny. We have this race that's local around here. It's been around, it's older than Boston.
Okay.
It's a lot of fun. It's called Around the Bay, and it's a 30-kilometer race. And you can either do a 30-kilometer race, a 15-kilometer, there's a 10 and a 5, I believe. So the one year I run a lot of races, as you can see behind me, and I run a lot of them with my running bestie. And he and I have done, I think we're at 23 races together over the past 3 years.
Wow.
And this was one of the ones that we were running together. And we're like, oh, you know what? This year, let's just do the 15. We're going to go out, see what we can get for a personal best. Well, we got to the race and there's it's Porta Potty Central and every single one of them is taken. And he's like, forget it. Let's just go get in line. And
Uh-huh.
when I see one on the route, I'll just stop there. And I was like, okay, let's go. And the joke is always I'll meet you at the bananas because not humble brag, but I'm faster than him. So
Huh?
I always say, I'll meet you at the bananas. I'm going to blow past you. I'll just see you later. So I take off, I run my 15K race. I get a phone call from him about 6, 7 minutes after finishing the race. And I answer the phone. I'm like, hey, Mike, I'll meet you at the bananas. And he's like, "Nope, I just passed kilometer 16." And I was like, "I'm sorry, pardon?" And he ended up coming out of the porta potty and going the opposite way
Whoa.
and running the 30-kilometer race, which for the first time ever in the history of this race, they had to
Huh.
extend the race to
Uh, uh,
35.4 kilometers because of like sinkhole and constructions. And I could not stop laughing because I thought, here is like my racing bestie who is only maybe trained for like a 10-kilometer race. And I convinced him to do the 15, and now he's doing 35.4.
my goodness. And a
So
marathon, help this
is
American,
is
42, right?
too, yeah. So, like, he's, 7 away from running a full marathon, and he's trained for a 10. So I, like,
My
couldn't
goodness.
stop laughing because I thought this couldn't have happened to, like, a funnier guy. I mean, he's got a great attitude.
Huh.
He's probably one of the funniest people I've ever met in my whole life. So he was sending me pictures along the way of him beside a cemetery, because he's like, "This is gonna kill me," and, like, just, like, standing there, like, drinking, like, shots because there's, like it's passing, like, university students and stuff that all have shot tables lined up. So when he crossed that finish line, it was like the entire crowd knew the story and they just erupted. And this will be 3 years ago now. I still laugh about it. I have shirts that are made for like every single one of the races that we run that says like, "Where's Mike?" And there's like, we put maps on him and like stories on the back saying, "Whatever you do, don't follow me." It's like I've been to parties before where like they've been talking about this guy that this one time ran the race the wrong way. And I was
My
like,
goodness.
"That's my friend." So
Why
long-winded, but
why do all embarrassing running stories start or involve a porta potty? Always. Who knew?
like we go over the map before we go. I'm like, "Do not turn that way. You go this
My goodness. Well, Lindsay, thanks for playing along. That was incredible. So, shifting gears a little bit, I know you are big into the Hyrox scene, and we'll get into that later on. Tell us how you got here. How did you get into running?
I think I ran a lot when I was in high school, like, which was a very long time ago for me. And it was one of those things that I was like, I just loved running. Like I was that person that would wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning and I would go and meet the rowers because we're right near like a really famous like regatta. So I'd go meet the rowers. I would run with them in the morning and then I would run home. And they'd always say like just join the running team like or rowing team. You're up anyways. You're doing all these workouts. And I'm like, no, I'm like literally just in this for my health. I'm out. See you later. And then stopped running and stuff, got into my university years. So I took a different path than health. I chose different things. And then, got married, had babies, everything about me
Sure.
changed. And I just hit this wall of like complete depression, like a big stop in my life. And I thought there's got to be something like what used to make me feel good. And it's probably, so my children are 16 and 14 now. So it's probably about 9, 10 years ago that I thought, forget it. I'm just going to go put on a pair of shoes and I'm just going to run. And the first time that I ran again, I ran maybe about 1 kilometer. And then the next time I did about 1.5. And I remember coming home and being so incredibly proud of myself that I ran 1.5 kilometers. And I think that, like, just in retrospect, for those who are thinking about running, that's amazing. Like, if you can get out
Yes.
there and you can run 1 kilometer, if you can run from one pole to the next pole and then walk and then run and then walk,
Yes.
like, that is success. That is teaching your body. It is like just as admirable as me getting out there and running an ultra. This is something that you're doing for your mind, for your health, for your body. And I think that in each of those moments, when I would hit those moments and say, like, I can't believe I just did this. The first time I ran 10 kilometers was on a treadmill and I got off and I cried. And I'm
Yeah.
just standing at the gym crying. And this
Yeah.
guy's like, "Are you okay?" And I was like, "I did it. I ran 10 kilometers. That's amazing." So it really started to show me that like I could do these hard things and I could set these what I would call simple goals of I just keep running. Like I didn't care about my time, I didn't care about my pace as much as I'm like I wouldn't leave without my Garmin. Like 10 years ago, Lindsay was like, running with headphones that had a cord and I would run with
Yeah.
my phone in my hand.
Yeah.
But yeah, I decided like just keep going and then over COVID as you know, everybody kind of the great shutdown, everybody's brains turned off again. And I kept up with it. And I thought, I'm going to bring my kids with me because everyone's shut in. So I would have my son hop on his bike and I would be like, you got to run with me. Like, you got to coach me and you have to train me how to do this. And it was really fun because I now got my children involved in it. They got to see me do what I feel really good doing. And I would like, I remember my son was quite young and he'd be riding his bike and he'd be like, now I'm going to count to 10 and you're going to run as fast as you can. And I'm like, you got it. And he'd be yelling at me and he's like, that's not fast enough, with this cute little lisp behind him. And like, as soon as I'd accomplished that, it was that sense of like, he just saw me do something really cool. Like, he challenged
Right.
me, I accepted his challenge and I kept going. And I signed up for my first virtual race from there, and then that was it. I was like, "I am hooked. This is so fun." I can compete against other people around the world at that time just
Yeah.
by submitting my time, and then I got into, like, real races once the world opened back up again, and I haven't
Sure.
stopped since.
Awesome. So, Lindsay, I know you have, if I understand correctly, you've sort of ran the gamut. Really, you've done the marathon scene, the ultra scene. Tell us about those types of races, what the preparation looks like, but also like for our listening audience, I think this is always so interesting for people who have done both to sort of distinguish the difference, the approach that you take to those two very different types of races.
They are completely different types. I actually so for running marathons in itself, you're training constantly. You have like these different blocks that you use where, okay, today I'm going to hit a 5K, tomorrow I'm going to hit an 8K. And then you just keep building week by week. You worry about your pace, you worry about your cadence, you do hill repeats, you've got all these things going on. When you're training to run trail run, you're just going for a run. It's like the most relaxed, like chill atmosphere where again, like forget those headphones. I shan't be wearing them. I will not listen to any music when I'm outdoors running in the forest. It's a different vibe altogether. So, being able to like you have to kind of listen too because it depends whereabouts you're running. Here in my neck of the woods, we like literally have the woods that I run through
Uh,
and there's bears.
wow.
So I have to like be on bear watch out at
Yeah.
times when I'm a little bit more north than where I live here is like when I'm doing these like specific bear runs. Um, so like yeah, you got to just be listening and like paying attention. So if I'm going to be training for one event, I'm continuously training for every event, if that makes any sense. So when I did the trying to think what I did. So I did a 30-kilometer race, and then 2.5 weeks, 3 weeks later, I ran a full marathon race in Toronto. And then 2 weeks after that is when I did my ultra. So I used each of those races as like a building block for the next. And I had ended up on my marathon that I was running. So right in the middle of these like three races, I had done something to the back of my legs and had like this like double sciatic pain. And I thought, forget it. I'm going to do so terrible in this. And I ended up doing pretty well. Like I finished in 4:05, which is great. That's still like a fantastic time. Um, and I thought, okay, well, if I can do this in 4:05, I bet that I could run this ultra marathon in like 5:20. Oh my goodness. What a lie I told myself because I think I ran that ultra in 6 hours and 35 minutes, much slower. It was all outdoors. It was very hilly. It was the equivalent of, I don't know if you know how tall the CN Tower is here in Toronto, but it would be the equivalent of running up and down the CN Tower. I think it was like
Uh-huh.
2.5 times.
My
Like
goodness.
it was incredible. I like humble brag again, I've ran a marathon in Maui where half of the marathon was running up a mountain
Mm.
and it was not like that was like easy compared to running this ultra. I was very humbled. I would stop and I'm not a person who stops on races normally. Like if I stop it's because I'm really quite injured,
Mhm.
but I would stop completely and like chat with people and eat snacks. And the racing communities are completely different where you're road racing, you're like gunning it, on your left, here I come, and warning people. And as
Yeah.
again, a short person, I'm watching out for those elbows because they're going to get me in the face.
Mhm. for
But
sure.
when you're on a trail run, people stop and they're like, "Hey man, you good? Like you want some of my gummy bears?" Like I actually stopped and like there was a guy that was sitting on the ground and I'm like, "Hey, we've got 5 kilometers left. Let's do this together." And it like we
Awesome.
did. Like I'm like, "Let's go." Like I don't care. I don't care about my pace. Like at this time I'm like, "This Garmin, forget it. I don't need
Right,
it.
right.
I'm
Yeah,
embarrassing my Garmin." So, at that point like I was like I really absorbed myself into that community and just incredibly kind. Everybody makes space for you. The guy who came in first place must have stopped and asked people, "Hey man, you good? You good?" Like about 15 times, and they'd be running past me, and they'd be like, "Excellent job, keep it up, you're doing awesome." And I'm like, "Wow!" Like that's like
yeah,
not to say that the road race community isn't kind,
sure.
but it's a different vibe. Like
Yeah,
they're like, "Hey, I'm just chilling, I'm just out for a little trail race."
yeah. As a marathoner, like I'm very intrigued by the trail running and the ultra community. I all the things you said, just a different pace and the fact that you just get to go run and you don't get wrapped up in all of the times and the splits and the specific types of workout. It's really just time on feet, right? I mean, that's the
Yeah. That's it.
main
Like,
purpose.
nobody cares. Nobody cares how fast you run or what your pace is. They just wanna make sure, "Hey, you having a good time? And do
Yeah.
you want some gummy bears?" Like,
Gummy
that's
bears.
it.
I
Yeah,
think it's worth it for the gummy bears, just the gummy bears
it really
alone.
is.
Awesome. So Lindsay, another thing that I'm so intrigued about just in your journey is something like we keep seeing on social media here, and to the best of my knowledge where I live, unless I'm just living under a rock, which I don't think I am, this Hyrox craze that has just like taken over. Tell me about what in the world is going on with Hyrox. What is it? How did you get into it? And what is it that you love so much about it?
I love every little thing about it. I am one of those people that I don't know if you can tell, but I really like to challenge myself and push myself a little bit further. And I started seeing ads about High Rocks last year, and I thought, "Oh, I'm gonna do that." Like, it's involving running, it's involving working out, it's involving doing all of these things, like, you're literally using every part of your body, and it's a constant you're constantly moving, you're constantly thinking about, like, how you can improve each step of the way. It's not like, "Oh, I need to step, 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 step." Like, that's not it. Like, you're working literally head to toe. So I started at the gym that I go to. They had said that they were going to be starting this High Rocks program, and I was like, "I am in. When does it start?"
Yeah.
And the people like, most of the coaches that are there, like, had already known me, and they were like, "Oh, yeah, we know you're coming. No problem." Before they even started the, very first class, I had already signed myself up with my husband, where he had no idea what High Rocks even was.
Voluntold.
Um
Nice.
yeah, like, I was like, "Hey, there's this competition, and it's like a fitness competition, and I'm gonna sign us up." And I was like, "But I don't know if I'll be able to get in or not," because I think in Canada, there may be 4 dates in total in the year, so there's not
Wow.
many sites.
Okay.
So it's, like, competitive, like, it sold out in a minute and a half. So when I saw that it was coming out for sale, I'm like, "I'm gonna sit in front of my computer, I'm gonna get the tickets." Well, I come downstairs to my husband's office, and I'm crying, and he's like, "What?" I was like, "We did it, we got into High Rocks." He's like, "What the heck is High Rocks?" So I said, "You're gonna wanna, like you're gonna wanna start training." So I started sending him videos, and we did a couple classes together when it rolled out, and he's like, "I can't believe that we're gonna do this." And it was just this past weekend, actually, that it was our first Hyrox competition, so it's considered as mixed doubles. So that means that
Okay.
a male and a female are competing, and that means that the female has to do all the men's weights. So
Okay.
it's like so I'm doing much heavier than what I would be doing if I'm competing with another female, and nobody cares. Like
Yeah.
the ball is heavy, no one cares, pick it up. So what you do is essentially like you're running 1 kilometer and then you're doing one event. So it's ski erg, sled pull, sled push. I think the sled push is like 358 pounds, and then the sled pull was like 200 and something pounds. So, and in between each of these events, you're running another kilometer. So you
Okay.
finish like you push a sled for 80 meters, and then you like run out the out section and for another kilometer. And it's
Okay.
really competitive. Like people are running these kilometers that I'm like, "Oh my gosh," like, I don't even know if I've ever run like a 4:05 on purpose, maybe
Yeah,
like if I was
yeah.
running with my dog and trying to be like my border collie or something, but to watch these people like push these weights and pull these weights and throw these weights and then go and run like a 350. I'm like,
Wow.
amazing. I'm going to do it. Like I am going to do nothing but get better at this point at doing these events. And then while I was there, the one person that I train with a lot at like she's one of the like head coaches at the gym that I go to, and she was like, "Hey, my partner dropped out. I need another partner. Will you be my partner with me?" And so Saturday I competed in doubles mixed with my husband. And then Sunday morning, 14 hours after I finished the last race, I competed all over again. But it was with women's weight, so it was slightly lighter, but
Oh,
still like when my body is like, "Don't do it."
yeah, that's no joke.
No,
Wow.
I was very sore. And then it's about a 7-hour car ride home from where the event was hosted to where I live. So it was a lot. Like I always said, like the worst part about any of this was the drive home because I just wanted to keep moving my hips and like
Right.
moving my legs so they don't get that seize up. But I can't wait. I'm doing another one in 2 weeks in New York, and
Wow.
I'll be solo for that one. So my first solo event, and I'm so excited. Like I can't wait to see what I can do all by myself while I'm out there. I'm not expecting to like break any records. I just
Sure.
want to see what I can do all by myself.
So you are hooked for sure, huh?
Oh, it's so fun. Actually, I'm so hooked that I've been asked to coach. And
Nice.
yeah, so I actually start in 2 weeks. I'm going to start coaching Hyrox itself. So I'm taking all the courses. I'm doing everything I'm supposed to do. I'm really one of those people that if you're like, oh, I'd love to be able to learn to run a race, I'm like, I'll sign you up for a 5K in 5 minutes. Like, let's
Mhm.
go. I know that you could do this. And then I work with you
Yeah.
and you run a 5K and we compete something awesome together. So when it came to Hyrox, I was telling people about it. And the more that I started telling people about it, the more that I was bringing people into this Hyrox world, like into my gym, into the class, and they're like,
Yeah.
"Just work here already." So,
Wow.
yeah.
Wow, that
So
is
now I'm
so
getting paid to
cool.
do what I love. Yeah,
Yeah, it doesn't get any better than that. Wow.
honestly.
So, Lindsay, tell me a little bit. I'm a little familiar with the CrossFit scene. I did that for about 8 or 9 months before a few folks there got me absolutely hooked on running. What I mean, what? How would you describe the difference? Is it more running intensive with with a kilometer
It's
between every?
equal.
Okay.
It is equal. It's equal CrossFit and running. You might hear people who aren't runners say, "Oh, this is much more of a running event." But for people like yourself and I that like we actually get out there and we do a lot of running in itself, that's the easy part for me. That's the part that I'm
Okay.
like, "Whew,
Yeah.
thank goodness. I'm going to get out there and I'm going to run this one out," you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I think it's like you're most familiar, you're most strong in your running,
Mhm.
but it's 50-50 as far as
Okay.
I can see.
Very cool. So if you had a choice, just for fun, I'm going to put you on the spot just because I'm so
Sure.
intrigued by all of this. If you had to pick your favorite marathon, any marathon you could run, any trail race you could run, or any high rocks competition you could participate in, you could only pick one. What are you picking?
Is it like one that I've already done?
No, like the most desired one. Maybe it is one you've already done, but say like if you have you done Boston Marathon?
Haven't done
Okay.
Boston, no.
So like I don't know. So like say like for me that's the cream of the crop. So like your dream competition in any one of those 3 categories, what are you doing and where are you doing it?
I'm very spoiled because I think that that's gonna be next week for me, is when I'm in New
Awesome.
York for Hyrox. Yeah,
Okay.
like, I talk about how I cried for Ottawa, but when I got
Yeah.
into New York, like, it was one of those things I could have just gotten into the New York Marathon, and it was that same feeling, that same rush, that same, like,
Uh-huh.
I am going to do such awesome stuff while I'm there, and, like, on
That's
top of it,
awesome.
like, I'm meeting people from all over the world that I
Yeah.
know that are running that same weekend, and I'm like, "Hey, do you wanna meet up at Central Park on Friday night and go for a run?" And they're like, "Yeah, I do." I'm like, "Oh my gosh, this is so cool."
It's the best. I love that about the running community, the fitness community as a whole is just the community. I love it so much. In fact, just posted something about it a little bit ago before we came on to record. So tell me like these venues are huge, right? I mean like this isn't just some high school
Huge.
gym. I mean we're talking
No,
huge
this is
venues, right?
like gigantic, convention centers that have just been completely transformed where you basically have a track on the outside and then You have a certain number of times that you have to do the track that's up to you to count, and if you don't count right, you are penalty. Like, there's a penalty, or you could be disqualified completely.
Okay.
And then you run into the in part, and you go to your numbered event, and then you have to go out of the out part. And I know it sounds simple, but when you're in the moment and you're actually running it and you're like, what number lap am I
Right.
on? What am I doing with this? Like, did I stand in the exact points for, like, when you're doing a ski erg, which is your first event once you come in after your first run, your feet have to be placed in a certain way. If you step off that board, you got a penalty. When you're doing the sled push and pull, like, if you step over a line, that's a penalty. And if you get too many penalties, you're disqualified.
Wow.
So there's so much behind it, and the entire event is in the middle of where people are running. So that's the other thing is, like, when you go to run out, there's some people that are just gunning it past you, and you're like, now, like, you feel
Yeah.
like you're crossing into traffic because you are.
Yeah.
So
So
it's so
yes,
intense.
there's what, hundreds of other people there, if not thousands of other people there, like compete.
60,000 people, I believe, were in Ottawa.
Oh,
There's there's so many people that
mercy.
for New York, they actually put 2 full weekends together, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then
Okay.
Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday again. So when I'm
Wow.
going, it'll be the very last day of Hyrox on that Sunday, June the 7th. Like, that will be last go for it. So, so
Wow.
cool.
And that's in, you said New York City?
New York City, yep.
Wow.
So it's on Pier 60 76, I think it is.
Okay.
So,
Wow.
yeah.
Wow. 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 So how on earth do you train? Well, what does a training block look like for high rocks?
So I'm still running. I'm still doing, like, hill repeats, like, finding not, like, gigantic hills. It's not like that, but I'm still gonna be doing interval training. Weights, I lift a lot of weights. I'm doing practicing, like, the actual movement. So doing, like, one of the events is burpee broad jumps, which is
Yes.
sucks. I hate
Oh,
burpees. When people tell me they love them, I'm like, "What's wrong?
I'm 6 foot
Who hurt
6.
you?"
Yeah, as a 6'6" guy, those things are demonic. I cannot. Anyway, go ahead. I'm sorry. I
Listen,
completely
as a
interrupted you.
5 foot girl, first 6'6" jump is probably, like, again, like, couple of my little hops there. So, so when I'm training for things like that, I'll do a burpee in place and then do a box jump so that I'm
Sure.
creating that distance, and then I'm moving the box up so it goes to a higher height and then a higher
Mm,
height. And I might move the box out so I have further to jump up onto that box. Wall balls, I'm using the heaviest balls that they've got. I want to train on men's weights. And the reason I like, you'll hear different people say different things like, oh, women, you should always be training on the weight that you're going to be carrying. But if I'm going to be doing mixed doubles, I want to do that. And if I'm going to be doing it on my own, I want to throw around the heaviest ball so that when it's time for me to go and compete on my own, I'm just like, whoop, here we go. Like, it
yeah.
just seems lighter, right?
Yeah.
So lunges, like weighted lunges, so you can use, like, kettlebell lunges for that. You can actually do a lot of the training and stuff from your house. You don't have to have a facility. So if you're training and you've spent all your money on accommodation,
Yeah.
because it's not cheap, to
Right.
travel and to do these races, the races themselves, I always say, like, "Oh, it's just the same as me signing up for a marathon," but
Yeah.
it's not. It's
Right.
it's more expensive for sure.
Okay.
But yeah, you're doing individual activities and just throwing those weights around. Just have fun, though. You can
Lindsay,
join me, come to my gym.
yeah,
I'll
there
train
you
you.
go. Yeah, I bet you will. So, Lindsay, there's no doubt that you are definitely driven and have that get after it attitude. Who have been some of the inspirations for you along the way? Just folks that you really admire and have become inspired by.
As you go, you meet a lot of people. So I've met, like, there's this one gentleman that runs locally. His name is Alan, and he is almost 70 years old, and he has run so many races. And the one year I was probably in my head the most competitive I've ever been for races. And when you get stuck in your head, you stop enjoying it. And I just was really beating myself up, and I was like, I have to get this BQ time. I have
Yeah.
to qualify. I hired a run coach. I had an injury. I was like really stuck. And the one day he's like, "Hey, you want to run with me?" And I was like, "I would be honored." He said, "I'm much
Mm,
slower, but," and I was like, "I don't care. Let's go. I can learn a lot from you, right?"
mhm.
So as I'm out there running with him, he was telling me, like, "Lindsay, it doesn't matter. Nobody cares about your pace.
Right.
Boston is not the goal. The goal is to love running." And, like, listening to him talk about, all the hundreds of races that he's run like, Boston, Chicago, New York. He's
Mhm.
like the best runs that I've ever done has been like a Sunday morning when I've had a cup of coffee and I just
Yeah.
get out there and I have a good time with my friends. And he's like, the
Yeah.
competition is just a part of it, but, learn to love running again. And I was like, man, you are so right. And like, especially when I'm stuck in my head, hearing someone who is seasoned in this,
Right.
who's been to all like the glitz and glam, and he was just like, bring me right back down to earth again. So Alan's just a fantastic human being and a very wise person. And then there's another girl that runs in this area. Her name is Megan Howard, and she is just a force to be reckoned with. She's younger. She is so fast and humble and kind, and
Mhm.
she's the person that you see at races that like I used to always think like there'd be some people that are, those really elite runners, like
Right.
where like they don't want to talk to you, they don't have time
Yeah.
kind of thing.
Yeah.
She's not that way at all. Like I'll see her at races now and she's like, "Hey girl," and she comes up and I'm like, "Oh, hello," and she goes and runs
Awesome.
all these races like all over the world. And I mean, she's fast. I think her time that she did in Berlin might have been like 2:52.
My
Like,
goodness.
yeah, she's fast. She's like, what about it? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
no big deal. Let's just go for a run.
Yeah.
So kind. And I think moments like that too, like where again being stuck in our head and thinking, "Oh, I'll never be like so and so," or "I'm not good enough to speak to so and so," like realizing, you know what, you are, like we're all just people, we're all just out there for the same reason, to have a good time and,
Right.
put a couple heavy things around our neck at the end of the day.
That is such good advice and so true. It's almost eerie to hear you say that because I just got done with a marathon a few weeks ago, and for whatever reason this time it just took a little bit longer to recover. My body just wasn't clicking, and finally earlier today, finally I texted my coach. I was like, "It finally feels right again." And he's had a great plan for me all along. I get pride starts to creep in and be like, I don't need to recover. I need to get back to this pace. I need to get back in.
Yeah, I'll just get a quick 5K shakeout at 25 minutes. No big
Right,
deal.
right, yeah, and then I realize I can't do that. So,
Yeah,
Lindsay, tell us, so there are a lot of people that listen to the podcast and watch this, because as I told you before we went on to record, we've had some really incredible athletes on here, you being one of them, but also a lot of folks who listen who they're just getting started. Like literally
love
some
that.
people I know, like, are just going to run their first 5K in 2 days, and they'll message or reach out and be like, I've been doing this run walk interval thing. Do you think that's enough? Where do I start? So what advice would you give? I mean, my goodness, across the board, whether it's just running in general or what any sort of fitness, what advice would you give to someone just starting out who kind of feels like you described, like in over their head?
Yeah, I think that we all feel that way at some point in time, but reflecting back when you're out there on that 5K race, your first K race. Ooh, I got goosebumps just thinking about it right now. It's so it's just beautiful. Like look what you're doing. You're out there. You have your health. You have enough health in your body to be able to be outside. You have enough money in your pocket to be able to pay to do a race, to be able to pay to have nice shoes, to be able to put gas in your car to get you to that race. You have money that you can fuel your body, a home that you can rest in, a bed that's warm when you're all done. Like those are the things that really matter that when the moment gets hard, when you're thinking to yourself, even if you're at that first 1K, I've been in 5K races before where that first kilometer, I'm like, oh my goodness, this is like a 15-kilometer, 1 kilometer.
Mhm.
Like this is
Yeah, yeah.
hard. But you're at that point where you're coming to that stop and you're wanting to stop. That's when you need to like switch gears in your brain and think, my goodness, I am so blessed to be here. It's changing the way that you're looking at things in that moment of difficulty and absorbing the beauty and the wonder and the abilities. And you're right in saying earlier that you look around and you're like, man, how come everybody else isn't feeling the way I'm feeling right now? But That's because 'cause we're all here to have, like, a great time, so and
Yes.
once you cross that finish line, whether you had to
Yeah.
walk half the race, whether you had to
Yeah.
crawl your way across that finish line, you did the same distance as everybody else. You
Yeah.
earned that medal, and, like, my golly, like, that is just such an amazing accomplishment.
Absolutely. Yeah, I've heard it said by people far smarter than me. We don't have to run. We get to run, and on those hard days to be mindful of that, and that really, I mean, there's a lot of truth in what you said. Just the race, in a lot of ways, the race is a celebration. I mean, it's a celebration of the work you put into it, and so good stuff. So, Lindsay, what would you say in your journey? I know you've overcome some very difficult things in life. What do you think that running has taught you the most?
And that I can get through hard things. You know, I hear a lot and you'll see a lot of the memes on social media where endurance runners were born out of trauma. By every means, I have been through quite a life, quite a life. I had my stepsister was murdered when I was a child. My stepfather, who was the father, had major mental health issues after that and almost killed me because he believed in his own delusions that I had to die in order to strengthen his relationship with my mom. I had to have restraining orders, so I just lived in fear for years. You know, it was like one of those things that like I was constantly in this state of like panic, like something is going to
Mhm,
happen. Even right from like when my stepsister was killed by her ex-boyfriend, like it was panic, panic, panic. So for like
mhm.
15 years of solid like not being able to breathe,
Yeah.
learning to breathe through running helps me to
Mhm,
cope. It helps me
mm,
to strengthen out my brain. It helps me to forget about everything. And in this whole journey, as I've gotten older, I've actually like I'm completely sober now. Where like I
awesome.
said, like in my younger years, my 20s, I was drinking a lot and all through
Mm,
COVID, I would come home from work. I was a nurse, so I would come home from working in hospital and my husband like half jokingly would greet me with a glass of wine while I changed in my garage and showered in my basement and then was able to come
wow.
up around my family. So there was this idea of like these coping mechanisms that I was developing, and I was also learning to run. So trying to run the day after drinking a bottle of wine, I'm like, "Oh, this doesn't feel
Uh,
good. This feels
yeah,
really bad."
yeah.
Um, so one day I just decided like that's it. I'm done. I'm done drinking. I won't use cannabis. Like I'm just going to get out there and be the healthiest version of myself and see how I feel. And it was the first time since I was probably 15 that I was thinking clearer,
Yeah.
that I was breathing better, that I was actually learning to deal with all the trauma that had happened in my life. And, you know, I'd finish going to therapy and then I would come out of therapy and I would go for a run and it would be like back to back therapy is what I called it because
Awesome.
it saved me. It helped me to like release everything. It helped me, like I said, to learn to breathe again and to really appreciate like how precious life is and
Yes.
how like we only have one. We only have one opportunity. So let's do it in the healthiest body possible and let's get out there and show the world what you can do, right? Don't waste your life.
Such good advice, Lindsay. Thank you. So, with all of that being said, this leads me to my next question. I know you've got a big, exciting Hyrox competition coming up June 7th in New York City. And that's close. That's real close.
It's real close.
After that, any thought of what's next?
Oh yeah, I've got things lined up. I'm doing an all-day solstice relay where myself and four other teammates are running basically from 5:15 in the morning until 9:15 at night. It's a 3.7 kilometer trail run that we do in a loop.
Okay.
You can run as many as you want or as less as you want. And this year I'm going to shoot for 70 kilometers. And because
Oh,
it's an all day event, like I'm just going to get out there and, you know, eat my gummy bears and go. Like, so 70 is my, like, in my head, if I run 30, great. I still ran 30 kilometers in a
right,
day. That's
right.
amazing. Right.
Yeah.
But like, if I can just get out there and do a couple of extra laps, then I'm going to see what I can do. And I've got a
So,
other half marathons and like night races and stuff like that all
okay.
summer long, and another Hyrox in Toronto in October.
Wow. So we need to send you, Lindsay, all the gummy bears, right? All the gummy bears we can find.
Yes, please.
I'll never look at those the same. Fantastic. Well, Lindsay, this really has been a blast. I thank you so much for coming on. What an incredible encourager you are, and not just encourager, but inspiration as well. My
Thank
goodness,
you.
ultras, marathons, Hyrox, more powerful than all of that, the obstacles that you've overcome. And man, I just want to thank you for sharing that. And I know that somebody needs to hear this, or I know I did. And so thank you. Thank you for your encouraging words and just your positive attitude, not just on the podcast today, but all throughout social media. Folks, if you have not given her a follow, Run Wild, Lift Heavy on Instagram, you will not regret that. Lindsay, thanks so much for joining us today on the podcast. It's been an absolute blast.
Thank you so much for having me. Nice to finally meet you.
Yeah, likewise. This has been Lindsey Charbonneau, all the way from Ontario, Canada.
Perfect.
And this has been the Run Dusty Run podcast, where, as always, we continue to encourage you to keep showing up and keep going.